Biggest lie your brain has ever told you is that it's convinced you that you are the person making the decisions. This is actually conditioning from your environment and your surroundings, not you thinking and actually logically construing everything together. Your brain might tell you that, but it's not true. Let me explain the logical causals of why in 5 different points. So, why this matters to actually understand is that if your thoughts aren't yours, neither is your life. So every choice that you are making, your in terms of your career, your relationships, your body, gets shaped by whatever your environmental circumstances are. And what I mean by environment is literally anything environmental. What you watch, who you grew up with, who your friends are, what is available to you in your physical environment in terms of habits, all of these different types of things. So the first one in terms of the start of this chain is that attention can only point one way. So this is the default mode network that I'm switching on. You are either looking outside or you're either looking inside. So you're either extrospecting or you're introspecting. You're either looking outside of you or inside of you. Now, the problem with scrolling on your phone and doing these sorts of things is that you are deactivating the part of your brain, the default mode network, which is comprised of 3 points in your brain, 3 parts of it. This part of your brain is not shut, it's not active, it's not actually working because it's extrospecting. Your attention is being pulled by something outside of you. You're watching a video, you're reading something, you're doing something, you're interacting with something, you're listening to music. Your attention is being pulled outside of you, which means your own thought processes, your self-referential thinking, and your sense of self is not there. So when you're wondering, I don't know what I want, and I don't know who I am, and I don't have any direction, and I don't know what my values are, maybe there's too much noise. That's something to think about. So this deactivates when you engage with the outside world. Now, that is a good thing in the right context. For example, if you're in a social situation and you're, in a large social environment and you're constantly looking inward, that's a bad idea. Your default mode network, you should try and deactivate and get more interested in something else. And then that way, that part of your brain will deactivate and you can get engrossed in the conversation. That's a positive way. But a negative way is distracting yourself, constantly trying to ignore what's going on in your internal thought processes and not introspecting because it's too uncomfortable. Therefore, you reflexively start to distract yourself. If you notice you're trying to distract yourself, it's really good to ask yourself the question, okay, so why am I trying to distract myself right now? It probably means there's something in your brain that should be actually, evaluated and spoken through with yourself in silence. Better tip, journal it. Second part is, so constant input means it almost never runs. So when you're constantly listening to music, scrolling on your phone, watching YouTube videos, podcasts, always noise, even if it's good educational content, that's not actually that bad for you, it's noise. And this is going to, stop that part from running. And remember, what you repeat in your brain is what grows, and what you don't repeat is what shrinks. So, for example, if I was to have stopped walking and I was always in a chair, or I was always, not using my balance at all, the part of my brain responsible for your balance, your cerebellum, would get weaker, which means when I stand up for the first time, I'm going to have a real trouble standing up. The same way that your brain is going to have real trouble sitting in those thoughts, that self-referential thinking, and being comfortable with that, because it hasn't been trained or repped. So the reason why people are stuck in this loop is because the more they avoid it, the better they feel, and the more uncomfortable it is to approach it again. And that's a loop, that's a cycle, where it's too uncomfortable, you avoid, you get relief from avoiding, and then you get uncomfortable again because avoiding it is genuinely difficult because you have to constantly use noise, and then the cycle repeats. 3, meanwhile, the deliberate system is overloaded. So when it comes to careful, effortful thinking, where you're using your metacognitive power to observe your thoughts and ask yourself, why am I thinking these things? Because paying attention to fleeting thoughts is extremely valuable. That's something to consider there. But what happens is when you're constantly overstimulating and cognitively overloading your brain, when it comes to doing that work, when it comes to the silence, your brain is too underloaded and it wants to default to its automatic habits. So when you're constantly consuming noise and avoiding the silence, you will depend back onto your environment. So when you've overloaded your brain, you're going to default to your bad habits, your negative habits that require low friction and get you that high reward that your brain naturally will always want. So this shift is very, very well demonstrated. You stop deliberating and start defaulting. That's the whole point of this. So just understand that the more you overload your mind and your brain the entire day, the harder it is going to be for your brain to stop yourself from doing the bad habits. So the more stimulation you consume, the more likely you're going to give in to your old patterns, your old ways, and those negative habits that you don't want or desire. 4 is that your defaults come from your environment. So when you're wondering, why do I have these patterns of behavior? Look at your environment. What is always easy for you to access? What is is your phone next to your bed when you wake up in the morning? Is your nicotine pouches accessible to you whenever you please? What is exactly like controlling these patterns of behavior, and why is it so, the less friction you have, the more easy it's going to be for your brain to just subconsciously do it. The more gaps you put in between your habit and achieving that habit and actually doing the full cycle, the easier it's going to be to defeat that habit and change. And also, what positive habits are becoming more accessible to you? Are your gym clothes at the ready before you leave and go to the gym? Like, are you making this actually easy and frictionless for yourself? Or are you making it difficult? Is that journal that you've been telling yourself you're going to be using actually, hidden away in your drawers under clutters of, dust and clothes? Or is it right on your desk next to a pen with nothing else on that desk, ready for you to use? That is the question you should be asking yourself right now. Because the thing is that, this is going to run you automatically. That's what determines your behavior, what's sat around you in that environment, what you saw, what you scrolled, what everyone around you does. So the choice feels natural, but it's actually rehearsed into your brain through the mirror neurons, which is, becoming very, well researched over time, and we're really understanding what this means. But typically, if you watch something else, it's a monkey see, monkey do. So if a monkey eats banana, feels happy about eating banana. If a monkey sees another monkey doing that, the monkey's going to do it because he just watched and observed that person getting a reward. So this can happen with bad things. If someone's doing drugs and they're enjoying them in the moment, and you're watching that constantly, you are then slowly convincing yourself that that is also going to be rewarding simply by just watching it. That's something important to observe and understand. That's how much your behavior is genuinely influencing your behaviors. Like, what you are consuming is controlling that. If I was to watch Love Island, for example, over and over and over, giving that my attention, that is then changing my thinking. If it's changing my thinking, it's changing how I'm feeling, and if it's changing how I'm feeling, it will change my actions. If something is running your thinking, then it is also going to be changing your behavior slowly over time, and then you'll do things that might be slightly different. And here's where number 5 comes in. This is why you don't think this is true, and why you think it's actually not you. It's not the environment. It's actually you making this choice, and you're the person who's determining this, and using your free will. Is that your brain writes a story. It writes a narrative that explains why these things sorts of happen, why you decided to do it, and it generates these explanations for your behavior after it's happened, and your brain believes them completely, which is super interesting. So you act on the conditioning, then get handed a reason that your brain gave you, and then experience the whole thing as a decision that you made. So this is why you won't be able to access your own decision making, your own thinking, is because that constant noise is going to block it. Your own thinking is only accessible in that boredom, in that silence, in that intolerable state that you might experience. Then this leads to inward network being suppressed, so your default mode network being suppressed, and then it drives no self-reflection, no self-understanding, not knowing who you are, what you value, what you want, which then leads to a deliberate system being overloaded because you're constantly consuming stimulation, which then leads to your control drops to automatic habits, because if your prefrontal cortex has been, the battery has been drained out of it, because that happens every single day, that's kind of why we give into our habits at night, then your behavior driven by environmental conditioning then plays out, because what is available to you in your environment when you're in a low state and all you're trying to do is minimize friction and maximize the reward, it's probably going to be scrolling, it's probably going to be corn, probably going to be junk food, that sort of thing. Then your brain invents reasons after. Oh, I was doing it because I had this reason, or I was only looking to see what was on my phone and all of this stuff, and I did it because I was trying to educate myself, or any sort of thing like that. And then it feels like your choice. You feel like you were in control of that. You feel like you could have decided. Now, some people use that for a good reason. Some people use that for a bad reason. But inherently they're both bad. If you don't give yourself the opportunity to understand what it's actually doing, then you're making it harder for yourself. Thank you for watching. Join my school community.